College football nation. We have made it to championship week. Now, this is unique from a DFS perspective because it's not a 14 game slate. The games that we're getting, there's 8 games, championship week, spread out. In terms of finding those good game environments today, there's a few that we like, but it's going to be more spread out than normal. It's not going to necessarily be as much target this game as much as possible, but we'll dive into it. Dave, how you doing this morning?
Joe, feeling great. We talked about it earlier. Weather's kind of, up here in the Northeast. So it's a great day to sit on the couch, watch some good college football, some great games. DFS environments, we'll see. We'll talk about those, obviously, but it's going to be a good one. And I'm so excited we got this far. I don't know about you, but 8-game slate, I'm like juiced for it. I love the 14s. Had a good week last week. Donovan Edwards, almost got me to a great spot. Had a couple of like 20Xs, but in 8-game, we can really narrow it down. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you can. You can really narrow down your player pool. Like today, if your normal player pool is 30 guys, you can get it down to 10, 15 guys if you're playing a couple lineups, which makes it fun and exciting. You got to be right, though, today because with 8 games, small miss is gonna show. So we can dive right into things. One of the first games we'll start with, I'll pull up my screen as we always do, is this TCU and Kansas State game. Now, from a scoring perspective, this is one of the better environments to look for in the day. Adrian Martinez, to my knowledge, is questionable. They say he might play. It doesn't seem to me like he can be fully healthy, so I'm not really looking to him much. But I do want to know Will Howard because if Will Howard plays, he's been pretty good. And against this TCU team, I would be interested in him there. Deuce Vaughn is, like 7,200, someone that I would play any week against any matchup. But he does look like the chalk for today. It looks like everyone's going at him at 7,200. So you'll have to kind of make your decision there. But it's a huge game for TCU in terms of making the football playoff and a lot on the line. What are you thinking here, Dave?
Yeah, second highest total on the board today. So it is one environment you could get involved with, and I wouldn't be mad at you. And it's actually one where I could see you playing both sides. Deuce Vaughn, first and foremost, does seem like a very safe play. Had 22 points against this TCU the first time they played and only 12 carries. I think it could be a little bit different today now with Will Howard in. I think Martinez might have played that game. In fact, I think he did. So I think Deuce is a really nice choice there. As you go up and down, though, the one receiving choice I do like from K-State, I like Ben Sinnott at 3,500. He's their tight end. Didn't have a great week last week, but before that, he had 2 bangers, a 17 and a 27-point game. With Howard in there, he's more of a target. He's had at least 3 targets in each game that Howard's played. So I like Sinnott on the passing game side and to get value and to actually help balance your lineup if you go Deuce.
Yeah, I do. I like that value play a lot. He's been involved more recently. The other guy on the Kansas State side, I do like Malik Knowles here at 5,400. You're getting a mid-tier receiver who plenty of times this year has broken for over 100 yards and a touchdown. He's a big play guy. This is a spot where this TCU pass defense is their weakness. Certainly a spot where he could break one off as well.
I like it.
On the TCU side, I think Kendre Miller is the guy I would like the most. It's a tougher defense on Kansas State side, but Kendre Miller is matchup proof at 6,600. Last time they played him, he had 30 carries or something ridiculous. So he's certainly in play there. You know what else you're looking at here on the TCU side?
I do think Max Duggan is one of my plays today. I know it's a little high, third highest priced quarterback on the slate, but I just think he can do so much and spreads the ball around, and it's really going to be on his shoulders. And I think he's going to be ready for the occasion today. We watched what happened last night with Utah USC. I know he watched it even more intently, knowing that it came down to Caleb Williams. Now it's coming down to Max Duggan. So I really do like him today. I'm scared to play anybody really in the wide receiving core. We always love Quentin Johnson, but it's just not consistent enough anymore. That to that point, I think Duggan just makes a lot of sense, along with Kendre Miller, and you can play them both.
I'm with you on that. I also have concerns about Quentin Johnson's health. I don't know if he's 100%, which is obviously makes it super risky to roster here today. All right, let's take a look at the Toledo, Ohio game. Here's another game where I'm concerned about injury news, right? Like, if I knew Daquan Finn was getting the start and playing the full game and he was healthy, then he would be one of my favorite plays. I would go all in on Daquan Finn. But last week he played a couple snaps and then they replaced him because he was not healthy. So I guess that's at risk of happening again. On paper, this is an ideal matchup. This Ohio defense stinks. They can return score. It's a game environment you'd want to target. But health is a concern here for Finn. What are you thinking?
I agree. I've played a bunch of MAC slates throughout the year, especially recently in November. And the Finn saga, it's just, blown up lineups. It's not worth it anymore. He's a really, really good player. To the point, I'm on Twitter like seconds before kickoff, just trying to figure out if he's playing or not. And I'm just not ready to go through that with an 8-game slate. A max slate, 2-3 games, you needed him. I can find other options. I'm with you. I'm just too nervous about his health and his ability here. But I do like on that side, I think we could get into Devin Maddox there, the wide receiver. He's been really good. 4 catches, 70-plus yards, 4 straight games. So no matter who the quarterback is, I think we could still get in and a decent price, right? I think Maddox is my one play on Toledo's side.
I like Maddox. I think you can play a few of these receivers. Now, I wouldn't play all of them. I'd only play one. But I think I can see Maddox that there. He's the best one. I think Newton could get there too. Newton's been involved. He's got a few catches and scores. And if you want to go cheaper, I'm even okay with going with the tight end, Jamal Turner. At 4,200, he can get in the end zone as well. Again, you're taking a shot here, but against this Ohio defense, you're going to get there in the air. Anyone on the Ohio side that you're looking to get in your lineups?
Well, yeah, as you said it earlier, you got Deuce Vaughn 7,200. You got someone 100 less that is just as valuable today. Sia Bangura is he scored a touchdown in every MAC game but one. And that game, I don't even think he finished. So, you could all put an asterisk against that as well. He's the bell cow. He's the workhorse. I like him today. He's going against a pretty good Toledo rush defense, but I'm not worried. They have to use him. And then, I'm looking down at the receivers, and I think the guy, Jacoby Jones, has been really solid lately. I've always liked Wigloose. He's just been too up and down lately, and he's had some games where he's been just pretty much shut out. Jones, a little more consistent. I think a guy that could actually, put up 20 at a much less price than Wigloose.
Yeah, I would agree. Wigloose is overall the better player, but you're right. He's been too up and down. For the price you're paying for him, he has a pretty low floor, which he could really kind of pressure lineup. I actually think CJ Harris is okay at 5,500. He's a running quarterback. He's not a good thrower, so you're relying on the legs, but he can. If he gets there, 60 yards and 2 touchdowns, and maybe throws one, for his price tag, that will certainly pay off.
Yeah, I like it. And especially, I think, let's check that game right now is showing rain. So, it's a game that you're probably not going to see the throwing as much. So, CJ Harris could be a nice little play there.
Yeah, especially in a slate where it's hard to get cheap and find value because there's only 8 games. I think that's one way to look. All right, we'll look at this Coastal Carolina-Troy game. Another injury question mark here with Grayson McCall, who is their blood, right? He's the heartbeat of this team. If Grayson McCall is healthy, I'm interested because he can have a big day any week. And so it's a big risk because I don't know what you're getting out of him. I'm pretty surprised he even made it to questionable. I thought he was pretty much done for the year. So just keep him on your radar as someone that could be surprisingly good if he is a full go. If he's not going, I probably won't be looking at the quarterback side of this game.
Yeah, I agree. It's so funny how much they rely on him. Last week, they're 10-1, 11-1, and double-digit dogs to JMU. And it showed. They got smoked, and they couldn't do anything on offense. So without McCall, that whole side of the slate today or that game is out. So and it's the lowest point total on the board, 47.5. I think I'm off anything Coastal in this game.
I'm with you on that. On the Troy side, I like Vidal.
Yes, that's where I was at. I think he's my favorite play on the board. Like the board at that because of the price and what he's done in his past 2 games.
That's what it is. It's the last 2 games they've got him. He's become the whole offense. So just feeding him the ball, almost 30 carries a game at that volume. This Coastal run defense isn't all that bad, but at that volume and price, there's just too much upside.
Yeah, how can 450, 2 games in a row over 200, 6 touchdowns, 5,700. Sign me up. He's going to be definitely chalky, but it doesn't matter. We've said this before. 1 or 2 chalks isn't bad. You don't want a whole chalk lineup, but I think Vidal is a good play today.
Especially a day like today, there's probably gonna be 1 or 2 chalky gut plays in the winning lineup. It's about getting everything else right.
Yep.
All right, let's look at the LSU Georgia game. As usual, we're not going to go too crazy at any Georgia game because they're good on defense, very good, and they spread the ball out too much on offense. I will say this: if you want to get different, I'm okay with somebody taking a shot on Bout.
Yeah.
Georgia has given up a few big games to a top receiver this year just because they shut you down everywhere else. So you need someone to make a play. Is it possible that he has, kind of like a 6 catches, 98 yards and a touchdown type day? Yeah, I think that could happen, but it's not something I'm going to be overly excited about.
No, I'm with you. It's just, if you're doing that, it's to fade the ownership, right? And I'm okay with that. I just wish he was cheaper at 5,300. We've had him in the mid 4s this year, even low 3 to start. I just wish he was a little cheaper, but 5,300, I could still fit him in some of these offset lineups just to get different.
Yep, exactly. On the other side, on the Georgia side, maybe one of the backs that can get in the end zone, but for the most part, it's just there's too much with the ball getting spread around for me to get too excited about anyone on Georgia.
Yeah, McIntosh, I'd love to, but 65, I'll go Vidal 800 cheaper all day, every day. Deuce Vaughn, I'll pay 600-700 more with a known game environment and known carries. And Kendre Miller, I just 65, just he's outpriced for me.
I'm with you. I mean, my instincts want to maybe give a chance to Brock Bowers too. I mean, he's their top guy, but he's another hitter. He's got a very low floor, so expectation is that you can strike out. But of course, he does have some upside. There's always the potential he can catch 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. It's another way where maybe it's a way to get different if you're playing an otherwise chalky lineup.
Yeah, I do like Bowers. I'm going to play him a little bit this week. He's had 3 games, 30 points and above. He's had 3, 5 below. Like you said, it's a low floor, high ceiling. But in a game that they need to shine, I've always seen Bowers shine. Yeah. Like it's just they do try and really play him when it's money time. So I like Bowers today.
Yep, for sure. All right, now here's another one. Fresno Boise State is just not a great game environment that you want to focus on, and they've priced it up to the point where it makes it really difficult to get involved in this game.
It does. And I'm looking at the total here. It's right in the middle of everything, 54.5. But there's a few plays I might get interested in. I do like Jake Haener. He's a guy that can, he's averaged over 300 yards passing per game this year. Had a lower output last week against Wyoming, but a lot of that was because they ran the ball. I don't think they run the ball as much this week, so I could see some value in the Fresno game, but I don't want to get too wild here. So I'm with you. I think it might be a Haener, and I might not play much else on Fresno, but I am interested in Haener a little bit.
I'm with you there. I like that call. On the Boise side, I wanted to like George Holani. I came into it wanting to play him, but at 7,600, I just don't think it makes sense.
No, and I mean, even last week, what was his line last week? Because I remember I played him in a couple lineups. Oh yeah, 16 for he came back for 8 points. I can't pay the top running back, and Fresno's decent against the run, 70th overall. So yeah, I can't pay that.
I'm with you. All right, let's take a peek over at this UCF Tulane game. Now, this is an environment I actually think we can get behind. They played early in the year. It was a high-scoring game. Both these teams can score. I'll start on the Tulane side. I like Michael Pratt today. I think this is a good spot for Pratt. He's a guy that has a ton of upside in that he can run 1 or 2 in along with throwing for a decent day. They're going to focus on taking Tyjae Spears out of the game, who's their bell cow back, and I think opens it up for Pratt a little bit more. The one thing I'll add about Pratt is you don't have to play him with anyone. You can just play him solo. Don't feel like you have to force one of these receivers in your lineup with him.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. But if you do throw a receiver in the lineup, I'm leaning towards Deuce Watts. Lately he didn't have a great game last week, but he's just been steady. He's been a guy that's hit double digits 8 out of his 10 games. He's the 3rd price receiver on this team, 4,900. So, I think you can I think you can get there with a guy like Watts, but yeah, I wouldn't get too crazy. You could go naked easily on the Tulane quarterback side
for sure. I also think there's plenty of
Hey, let's take this question. Do I think TCU? No, I don't. I think they have to win today. I just do. I'm unfortunately, I know Bama has 2 losses sitting there, but what makes money? I just think I think Bama gets in.
That's a tough one for me. I think if TCU is a very close game, I think they still sneak in. I think if they get beat up, then yeah, I think they're out.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ohio State's in no matter what now, right? I think USC's out. Look, I want to see TCU. I do.
Yeah, it's hard to get. It's not right to have a team who made their conference championship get bounced to a team that didn't make the conference championship. But I mean, I get it. It'll be a close call, and listen, whatever happens, if they do lose, it'll make for a lot of controversy, which will be fun for everyone to lose their minds about.
Yeah, I do think Bama can jump them. I just think if you look at Bama's 2 losses, they were on the last play of the game. Obviously, the Tennessee and the LSU 2-point conversion. So I think they've beaten some good teams, and we'll see. I hope you're right that you feel TCU's in, but I just don't know. I think they're skating on thin ice. And like Joel said, if they have a quality game that's a crazy ending, then I do think they can hold off Bama.
Yeah, I see how it goes today.
All right.
On the UCF side, are you looking at? I think Plumlee's in play. Like Plumlee's not a thrower, right? He might only throw a handful of times, but he can break off some big runs. He's done it the last couple of weeks. He's a really great runner. And I want to get some exposure to the ground game here. So if it's not Plumlee, I also really like RJ Harvey, who's come on recently. He's becoming their go-to guy at 5,400. I think this is a really good spot for one of the two of them to have a big game.
Yeah, I'm with you on Plumlee. I mean, maybe it's too easy to go back just a couple of weeks and look at this game, but he ran for 176 yards, 18 carries. They obviously had a script in mind that they could beat Tulane running the ball. I do think it'll be a little different this week, but with that said, it's hard to stop a QB running game solely and then just, sit back with one safety high. And that's what Ohio State tried to do last week, and it just doesn't necessarily work out. So I think there's still value in Plumlee. 7,700 is not crazy. So, yeah, I could still play there. And I'm with you. In the running back scenario, I do like Bowser. 5,900 is a good price. But like you said, I think you could even go a little cheaper there. I would focus on the running game. So Harvey could be another guy I play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing in receivers. I hate to say nothing, but O'Keefe is just 6,400. I think I can get better value with a better passing games.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, these receivers, I think, for me, are just too priced up. I would have liked them if they were all $1,000 cheaper. But at this price and the volume of their passing, it just that ratio to me just doesn't add up.
Yeah, I'll play a little O'Keefe where I can, but he's not going to be like a strong, 20+% for me. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to start first with the Purdue Michigan game, and then we'll go to the featured game of the night for me. So, I will say this Purdue Michigan game, from the concept of like, hey, you want to get different. This isn't like the highest total or game environment that everyone's going to go to, but I can see maybe this being a little higher scoring than people think. In terms of game script, right? One of my thoughts is we've said all year Purdue is a stronger run defense than they've maybe gotten credit for. So does that mean I think they're going to shut down the Michigan run offense? No, but maybe they don't go off for 200 yards, and maybe McCarthy does another one of those games like he did yesterday where they rely on him to throw a few in opposed to run, and that could be a big way at 6,300 to start getting your lineup looking a little different.
Yeah, and if you're going to go that way, it's not Ronnie Bell anymore. I think it's Cornelius Johnson. And, we saw him, really break loose last week, 36 points, 35 in DFS on DK. So he's a guy that obviously stretches the field. They have been very reluctant to throw it long. But now that they've found a little bit of something here, I think, if you go that way and you box in Edwards, which I think Purdue can do, I like Johnson.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good play. He's shown he really has that big playability.
Yep.
Which is the type of thing you need for this kind of game plan to work, right? He needs to hit a couple big plays, score a touchdown, and then all of a sudden he's the slate breaker at 5,100 for the week. I'm probably gonna make myself crazy doing this. I'm gonna go back to Schoonmaker. I play Schoonmaker too much. I love him. Again, he's just at 3,300. He does have the capabilities of going for 5 or 6 catches for 50, 60 yards, and if he gets in the end zone, that's going to blow out the $3,300 price tag. So you don't need to have a huge ceiling playing a Schoonmaker on an 8-game slate at 3,300.
Yeah, and if you think about the way this game should be defended, commit to the box, play over top. That leaves the middle open, and that's a Schoonmaker area. So I think if they want to try and shut down the long passing game while also committing to the box, Schoonmakers could have a he could be a really big key in this game. So I like it.
And of course, Donovan Edwards is also in play because he was unreal last week. And
don't you think he's the chalkiest of chalk today because what people saw last week?
Yeah, he's going to be chalky, and we got to see what that ownership looks like, especially getting the Michigan running back, no matter who it is, at 6,400 is his bargain because this is the best running game you're going to find in terms of touches. Their O-line is just dominant. They just blow up holes. Guys have room to run. So it's always going to be a good spot, even against a good run D for a Michigan run game.
Yeah, and I'll play it. Don't get me wrong. He was a big piece last week, but it's 2 runs that got us to a huge game. So as long as they stick consistently with it, which they've proven they can, he can break it any time. So I'll play it, but I will be a little contrarian with him today. I won't be probably anywhere near close to what the public's playing.
That's a fair thought. What about on the other side? Are you interested at all in the Purdue offense?
Yeah, I am. I still think Charlie Jones is a lot, and I get it, and I think that's why I like him a lot here. And with that said, he's going to scare people off at that price tag. And listen, you're not going to move the ball much on the ground. Ahmad can be solid, but he can also catch the ball out of the backfield. But I just don't see a huge running game. Aidan O'Connell is going to have to get this ball out quick. And when he's got to make quick decisions, it's Charlie Jones over and over again. Now, it's also the tight end, right? We've always talked about him all year. Dunham. One of those two, I wouldn't play both because Michigan's that good, but I'd offset and mix those two in lineups for sure.
What I'll even add to that is, even if Michigan kills them, right, you still fall back on they'll just sit back and have to throw to Charlie Jones in garbage time for a half, which could be garbage points, which then get you there. It doesn't matter how you get there in fantasy as long as you get there. So if you're kind of saying the negative game script, that should still work in the Purdue advantage. It's hard to see this scenario where Purdue gets off to an early lead and sits on the ball. That's just probably not going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yo, Adam, what's up? Thanks for checking in. Always appreciate it. I think I forgot to get back to you. I'll hit you up later about Eagles game and if I'm going in that weather. But look, this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be one of the latest games going tonight. It's matched up against the next one we'll talk about for sure. But I think if you can be patient and get into this game environment, you could really have a unique lineup.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. All right. Now, the game of the day for me. This is my favorite game to get involved in. I want to have a piece of this in any lineup that I play today. North Carolina, Clemson. So let's start on the North Carolina side. I want to have a piece of North Carolina any week. This is the ideal team for DFS purposes. They can't stop a nosebleed. They have an explosive offense. It's just begs for scoring, for DFS, anything you want from that. On the other side of the ball, Clemson, who is a team that was known for their defense, was a positive defense, has shown they've been weaker against the pass, which is what North Carolina wants to do. And they've gotten themselves into these more kind of score them, shoot it out type of games, which on paper makes this look like the game to really be focused on for today.
Yeah, I agree. 63.5 is the highest total on the board. And you can really target both sides here. It's no longer fear the Tigers. I think teams have shown they can move it. And it showed last week with the Spencer Rattler, of all people, in the South Carolina offense, really exposing them in the passing game. So I'm interested. Drake May's been a little down the last couple of weeks, but looking specifically at the Carolina side, I'm going to get in the passing game. I'm going to get there. I'm going to find ways to get Downs and May in some lineups, but definitely Downs a lot more. And the reason his points haven't been great lately is touchdowns, right? I think that changes today.
Yeah. I think we're looking at some positive touchdown regression. coming today. And then I'm also okay with Antoine Green, right? That's maybe another way to get different in this game. Instead of, I'll put Green and Downs in some spots if we're going all out. Some spots I might just play Green instead of Downs, but I think Green is going to be involved here as well today.
Yeah, I tend to look this a little bit like the Notre Dame game. I think, Carolina's just going to have to answer the bell over and over again. That game, Downs gets 20 points and Green got 33. So together, you're getting 53 out of them. I could easily that's worth the value.
Worth it. And you'll find your value elsewhere on today's slate. And then with that, if this game becomes the game environment we're expecting, Clemson's going to score points, right? And how are they going to do that? I want to get one of DJ or Shipley in the lineup, right? If Shipley has one of his big games against this pretty poor Carolina defense, I can certainly see it. But if I'm not going to play Shipley, I do think DJ gets there, which, we've seen DJ have those 30-point explosive games where he's not going to throw for 300 yards, but he throws for 180 and a score and then runs 2 in, and he's more than gotten there in points.
Yeah, I agree. I like Uungalele. I think he's right there in my top 3 player pool for quarterbacks today. Nobody does bad against Carolina, and he's not going to be one either. I don't think they're going to have any club nick issues tonight rolling him in. I think he's a good play. Shipley's great play. And then I'm going to get a little interesting. I'm going to look at this tight end, but it's their second tight end. Had a big game last week. Davis Allen. He went, he popped for 12. He's 3,700, 4 for 35. If they tend to, want to get cute down there the end zone, I'm hoping him over Brenningstool. So I'm going to take a little chance there in that part of the passing game.
That's funny. We didn't talk about this before the show. I love Davis Allen. I also playing him. He was one of my favorite value plays. I actually have him in my main lineup right now for today. I look back. Carolina has given up a few big days to tight end, so it's a good spot there as well. At 3,700 for a guy you're looking for value, I think he makes a lot of sense. And also for me, there's so much spread out. There's no focus on this Clemson pass offense that if I'm going to pair someone with DJ, I think it makes sense to go cheap, right? And Davis Allen's a guy who's cheap who can get in the end zone and make that pairing make sense.
Yeah, and especially, I guess, in this play, and I don't know if you have all 3, you could easily go DJ Shipley with the tight end and really spread out your value very well. Yep.
For sure. The last play, the more obvious play, you have to pay up for it. If you want to go for one of the receivers, Antonio Williams is the guy, right? They'll throw to him the most. Like you said, the time to target someone's against this Carolina defense. So if he's going to have a big day, this is probably it. The price tag is probably higher than what he's shown for most of the year. But like I said, this is the week for you to have your ceiling game.
I agree. Carolina 212th against wide receivers. It's okay. And 5,700 is a little up for the production, but for the game environment, I think it's well priced. I think you can get this in. Yep.
I love it. Before we wrap up today, Dave, what is your bet of the week?
Yeah, I think it's Tulane. I think we're sitting here in a very good revenge spot. They had a great situation down in the Bayou the other weekend, and they let it slip against UCF. And then they came back with a huge victory against Cincinnati to get them to this point for this revenge game. It's hard to beat a team twice in a season. Utah pulled it off last night, but I think some of that came down to some injuries. I like the Green Wave today. I'm feeling really good about them.
I like that. That's a good call. I like that. Tulane team, I think, is underrated. They are a strong team. They play overall good football. They got some playmakers. I'm with you. I think Tulane's in a good spot here today.
And I think the UCF coach is an absolute fraud, Gus Malzahn. So maybe I got a little bias here, but I just think this guy coaches his way out of big games time and time again.
Well, then that's the spot to be on. That is a wrap for this morning. Good luck. Nasty weather out there, at least up here in the Northeast. So take a look at your games. Make sure you know what you're getting into when you're putting your lineups in, what the weather is like. Make sure you like the game environment. Good luck today. I don't think this will be the last show of the season. We'll probably have one more around bowl season. We'll be back for you guys. Good luck today. Let us know how you do.